Hello and welcome. We are live here at in Las Vegas at Adobe Summit. We've both come a long way. My name is Paul Robson. I run the Adobe Asia Pacific operations, and with me today here is Abhijit Baduri, all the way from Bangalore in India. Abhijit, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here.
It's great to have you here. So we're here to talk about AI today, which is a topic that's on the forefront of many conversations that are happening, especially in the world of technology. Tell me, how is AI being used by companies today?
So anything that involves a massive search and then searching from a very large database and then fixing it together for a given criteria is actually the best way that AI can be used. So in hiring, you use it for finding the right candidate,
Really?
you use it to do a skill match. People are using AI to understand patterns in consumer usage,
Okay.
so anything and everything.
So there's a lot of talk at the moment around data, big data, and in particular customer data. How is AI, in the world of customer data, how is that impacting?
So if you look at the amount of data that's being generated in the world, thanks to all the wearables, thanks to all the other technology which is coming in, sensors, this massive database, to be able to make sense, to hyper-personalize the offering, to be able to use it to create a great experience, you need AI to be able to sift through that data and find all the relevant points and find the connections which human beings otherwise would find it difficult to do.
So if you think about that point that you just made there around AI potentially doing the job that was once done by people, is the fear that AI will replace jobs in the workforce, is that a real fear?
I think all jobs, historically, if you look at it, I mean, human beings have worked with technology at some stage or the other, right through humanity's history. But right now, if you think of what's happening, I think parts of a job are going to get shaved off for everyone. Okay. In some cases, it's going to get augmenting technology. In some cases, it is going to be about replacing some parts of the job.
And is there any particular industry that you think that's going to impact more than another?
No, I think AI is going to become like electricity. It's going to be in every industry. Anything that survives is going to have AI used in it.
So as AI becomes ubiquitous then in the workforce, what can companies do to best prepare their workforces for this future with AI?
I think, the kind of investment that organizations need to make in terms of preparing the workforce at an individual level, as a culture. So I think one of the pieces I would think about is, this is very different from an IT upgrade, which is what I see a lot of companies looking at this technology change. Digital is no longer an IT upgrade. It's really about change the mindset, changing the culture of the organization, encouraging people to learn, to reskill themselves and teach others. So it's a very
Is it possible, do you think, to reskill, or is this the technology of future generations?
Now I think everyone can be reskilled. I mean, so I've sort of looked at the example of AT&T, which is retraining about 100,000 people.
Really?
So there is a lot of work that can be done. So technology in itself is also the best way to be leveraged in order to improve the reskilling efforts that companies are doing.
Are you finding that there are educational facilities now that are building out courses and curriculums around AI retraining or?
Oh yes, I mean in many of the countries the governments are also working with private, so there's a great private-public partnership which is happening. I mean there's some stuff which is happening in India, for example, to retrain a bunch of engineers into a higher set of skills in technology.
And if I'm an individual, if I'm a worker in the workforce and I want to train myself, how would I go about doing that? What would I do?
So I think the first thing is to actually start looking at your own job and to identify that part of the job which can be done in a routine way. So if you tell someone who's very smart, you instruct them one time, and if they can do it, and that part of the job is probably going to go away. So you have to look at the portions which involve human interaction, which involve creativity. Those, I think, are the ones which are going to be safe, at least for the moment. But staying curious, trying out new skills, taking up a course, there are tons of online courses, and actually working with different sets of people to learn about other functions beyond what you've grown up with. So if you're an engineer, can you learn about design? If you're a designer, can you learn about engineering? So it's a question
of... What's probably ironic and interesting at the same time is the use of AI in potentially predicting what would be the best skill to reskill yourself into.
That's true. Use it to
We could
get the
potentially predict
advantage.
that if there was this skill set that you had, that you may be best placed to reskill in another
Which
area.
is partly what some of the companies are doing. You know, there are providers who are actually creating pathways of learning
Yeah.
based on where the opportunities are going to be in future. So yes, it is already, you know, something
Wow.
that people are using. So it's
So as you then think about this structural change in the economy, as people, you know, as workforce as a function of the economy shifts across, give us a view of the time that you think that this will impact, you know, economies over the next 10, 15, 20 years. How soon is the impact going to be seen?
So I think, you know, as they say, that we overestimate, you know, how much things will happen in the short run, and we underestimate what will happen in
We're
the
still
long
not
run.
we're still not back in space. So yeah,
No.
we've underestimated many things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think technology has a way of evolving at a very slow pace in the initial phases.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, as the use cases keep coming up, then it sort of really accelerates.
So give me some of them maybe to finish off. What are some of the best practices in terms of AI being used in the workforce today?
If you look at what's happening in each of the areas of my field, which is leadership development and
Yeah.
coaching, I mean, everything from coaching to finding people, employee engagement, identifying the strengths of a person, finding a good match between the person and the role, also to identify potential. So there are companies in each of these fields. So I think it's a very exciting time for somebody like me to be in the space at this point of time. But over and above that, I think every function that I can think of is getting rewritten based on how AI is impacting. So, you know, whether you're in automobiles or
Yeah.
farming, fashion, I can't think of a single field where it is not reshaping the work.
So there's some time still for those of us that need to reskill to go through that.
All of us
Yeah.
will need to reskill ourselves and, you know, do that. But the good thing is technology also makes it possible for us to learn fast and makes it possible to make stuff interesting. And so I really am an optimist. I'm a techno optimist for
great.
sure.
That's fantastic. Well, Abhijit, thank you so much. You've joined us all the way from Bangalore. I'm here from
Thank you.
Sydney. We're here in Las Vegas, and we've certainly enjoyed our time here at the Adobe Think Tank in Las Vegas.
Thank
Abhijit,
you very much for having me.
Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much. Cheers.